All right, so this is a quick video on how to remove your blade. So what you want to do is I'm gonna look for this hole right here and put this screwdriver, something metal that will hold the blade in place. I like metric, and I believe it's a 14 millimeter to remove this bolt. And you can just use a ratchet and a lot of force, and you can take that out. Now, the very first time I took this blade out, it did take a lot of force. So what I'm going to go ahead and use, I have a impact gun, and I'm going to go ahead and try to remove that right now. So I have my impact gun. This is a little bit overkill. My screwdriver in place and try to remove this. All right, came off. Little washer comes right off, and there goes the blade. All right, so one piece of advice I have is, if you do not have a bench vise, do not take the middle screw out just yet. What you want to do is take the two, the bottom and the top off first, and then remove the middle one. But here I am, I have a bench vise. I'm going to go ahead and use a 17 millimeter to remove this. All right, so I loosened it up. So on the back you see this right here, so you just kind of have to hold it down with one finger and remove it by hand with the other one, and make sure you save that and you remember the orientation on how this goes when you put it back together. So this is how my blade looks like. I've already used it a couple times already, so you can see it's already in need of some sharpening. So I'm going to go ahead and sharpen it. When it comes to sharpening your blade, you have several options. You can use an angle grinder, but you want to make sure that you have the right wheel. Here's a right wheel. This is a fat wheel, so that would go on the angle grinder. You can use one of these attachments here. I've had success using this in the past. This is really all I had. It's kind of worn down since I've used it quite a bit for a couple years. But it's an attachment that you put onto your drill. Or you can go the old-fashioned way and just use a file and file it by hand. All right, so to balance it, I have one of these things that I got part of the kit, and I use this to balance my blade. It looks pretty balanced to me. So that's the first blade. I'm going to go ahead and do it on the second blade and put it back together. And this is sort of me trying to do it one-handed, just to show you kind of how I'm doing it. I find that this works best just for me. You know, if you want to do it by hand, it'll take a little bit longer, but it works just as well. I have a couple divots here and there on both blades, you know, from hitting rocks or probably some heavy branches. I think I got it as good as I can get it for right now. It's better than having a dull blade. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together onto the lawnmower. So what I like about these blades, it says this side facing grass, and on the second blade it says this side facing deck, so you know how to put this back together when the time is right. Alright, so this is how it should look like when you put it back together onto the lawnmower. Alright, so I have the blade seated. I'm going to go ahead and use my impact tool, but before I do so, to try to lessen the damage of the blade, I'm going to go ahead and put my screwdriver in and seat it up right up against it, so that way when I actually use my impact gun, it doesn't go ahead banging into this screwdriver, damaging the blade. So go ahead and have the 14 millimeter in place. All right, nice and seated. All right, no damage. All right, so we're good. So that's how you go ahead and remove the blade, sharpen it, and put it back together.